Life of Pi by Yann Martel. Book summary in under 4 minutes. Yann Martel's Life of Pi is less a simple survival tale than a meditation on faith, storytelling, and the ways people create meaning when reality becomes unbearable. The novel centers on Pi Patel, known as Pi, a boy growing up in Pondicherry, India. Raised around his family's zoo, Pi develops both a fascination with animals and an unusual spiritual life, embracing Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. Rather than seeing these traditions as mutually exclusive, he treats them as different approaches to the same mystery. That openness becomes central to the novel's question. Is truth only what can be proven, or can meaning also depend on what we choose to believe? When Pi's family decides to leave India for Canada, they travel by cargo ship with several zoo animals. The voyage ends in disaster, leaving Pi stranded at sea in a lifeboat with a Bengal tiger. From that point on, the story becomes a study in endurance. Pi must secure food and water, create boundaries inside the boat, observe the tiger's behavior, and control his own fear. Survival requires discipline rather than heroics. The tiger is more than a physical threat. It represents the wildness Pi cannot sentimentalize, but it also gives structure to his days. Watching and managing the animal forces Pi to remain alert, organized, and purposeful. In that sense, the danger keeping him afraid also helps keep him alive. Martel blurs the line between enemy and companion, suggesting that people can sometimes survive because of the very forces they fear. The ocean intensifies this tension. At times it is violent, empty, and indifferent. At other times it becomes almost sacred, filled with beauty, immense skies, and marine life. These shifts keep the novel from treating survival as merely physical. Pi's struggle is also psychological and philosophical. Hunger, loneliness, grief, and uncertainty test not only his body, but his identity. Late in the novel, the meaning of Pi's story changes. When others question the plausibility of what he describes, he offers another version of events, one far darker and more human. The novel never forces the reader to accept one account as definitively true. Instead, Martel asks why people prefer certain stories and what that preference reveals about them. A harsher explanation may sound more believable, while a more extraordinary version may provide emotional or spiritual meaning. The point is not that facts do not matter, but that human beings rarely experience suffering as facts alone. This ambiguity transforms Life of Pi from an adventure into a philosophical novel. Pi's religious openness, his relationship with the tiger, and the competing explanations of his ordeal all point toward the same idea. Belief can be a way of surviving uncertainty. The novel does not simply argue that people should believe comforting stories. It asks whether imagination, faith, and narrative can help people live with experiences that logic cannot fully resolve. In real-world terms, Pi's experience reflects how people respond to trauma. Survivors often depend on routine, purpose, interpretation, and personal meaning to endure what cannot be changed. Resilience is not only the ability to withstand hardship, it is also the ability to construct meaning from it. Ultimately, Life of Pi is about survival in both the physical and emotional sense. Its lasting question is not merely, what happened? But what kind of story allows us to live with what happened? Martel leaves that answer with the reader.